baskets, so there's really no value. You can change these. Arrow choice 20 by 8. If I clicked on that and went in and found them, I could change these to match as well. That'll show up in a different menu, but anyway, we'll get rid of buttons. We'll go to the menu area now. And what I should have told you is while you were making your change, do the menu at the same time. So unfortunately I didn't. So now I've got to go back into the dialogues, find that Precision 40 by 40 Pong once again and select it. And then we'll use the same settings for use. I think we'll put this direction. Box. Okay, now we have our matching boxes. Generally, to not waste time, I would do the dialogue and then at the same time get back out of that folder so that I didn't have to worry about it. Now we're going to stay with a white font there as well. The only other thing we can play with if we care to is the highlight font or the cursor color. And I always like to use those cursor colors. You can go and use the color indicator, select your color. You can go in and select the wheel and just want to grab something and then slide this to darker, lighter. Or you can use the gradients, and that's what I like to use. It's a little sharper look. So in this case I've got white fonts, so I'm going to go with say a black bottom, and I'm going to go with a very light, and let's see what that does for you. Now that's fairly visible in the menu, should be okay there. The only other thing that I would contemplate doing here is maybe doing an eye picker and going to this color and maybe playing it and leaving it a little bit of a turquoisey type color or a teal, and I like to leave it better than black. So now we have that. We can obviously go into the highlight font, change that to black if you want to break things up a little bit. That doesn't look too bad if you want to highlight to a different color. But that's something you can do as well. That takes care of the menu. The title bar, what I usually do, and you can definitely play with it whatever you want. If you go into the backgrounds, generally when I recolor something, my background icon always ends up to be black. So I usually don't mess with that one too much. So I usually just go into the color picker and then match my dialog box. So, and stay with the color flow. I'm going to leave the font as white, and I'm going to match this cursor as well. So I'm just going to go over and pick that color that we used on the bottom and choose the color we used on the top. And click OK, and now you have that in your title bar. Now I'm going to skip and jump ship here for a second. I'm going to go down into the global items. And I'm going to go down into applications. This background right here is the background that's going to show up here and in your phone menus, your hot list. This background is what we're talking about. So I'm going to go back into that area, and in this case I'm going to leave the text black. I suggest you go with the darker text and a lighter background. This will affect your BlackBerry Messenger and other applications, so and you'll find that out as you develop things and test them on your phone and say, whoa, I got a white font on a white background, this isn't going to work. So anyway, I'm going to go in here and just slide this over, and I'm going to grab a light aqua color and then just get out of that and go back up in here, and now you can see that I have a background here, and if I go into my phone, you can see that I have a solid background, and this will be the color in your options menus, the background where all of that shows up as well. So now we are out of the title bar, and we're into the list, and here is where the fun kind of begins. This is a very time-consuming area for me. This takes, I can put the rest of the thing together faster than I can get this the way I usually want it. In this case, if I go into the messages and change this, I don't like this gray, so generally I'm going to go black on white, black on black. In this case, I'm going to do black on black. Go back into this, and it shows up quite nicely so far in our coloring. You go to the cursor. I like to start with this cursor because this is the one that's going to scroll over everything. So if you make this the wrong color, you're not going to be able to read your highlighted font very well. So, and because we're using black, I don't want to go to this dark color again. So I may want to step up and maybe even try something like this. And go to that very light and see what that does for a background. And if I go pop into my list, you can see that that's going to show up my fonts very nicely. So that helps right there. And now this multi-section is going to be, what I generally do is I grab the eyedropper and go about the middle of that first cursor bar, and it usually ends up a little darker. In this case, I may want to drop that down to just a hair darker, and if you go into the messages, you can see everything is still readable quite nicely. And then your stripe. Basically, this is just a breakup of your messages, so you're going to get a different stripe color so that you can separate one message from the other. What I usually do there is I go and grab this particular one, and in this case I may want to grab maybe that far up and see what it does. And it breaks up a little bit different. It's a different color, so it works just nicely too. Now, that will take care of your list.